What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Redriveraviation. Hope you guys had a fantastic day today. And today we have the March 2023 Tulsa International Airport update for you guys. I really hope you guys are excited for today's video today, as today we have a very exciting Tulsa International Airport update. One of the biggest on the channel so far. We have a brand new route, a really important one, which I'm super excited to dive into. Many aircraft changes and so much more, and also a very exciting special guest. I would absolutely love to welcome SyracuseAviation for today's airport update. What's going on, Syracuse? How you doing, my man?
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Very excited to get into this awesome Tulsa airport update.
Anytime, dude. Thank you so much for being here. Really looking forward to this. And if you don't mind, I'll call you Anderson. He's had a great time enjoying the Tulsa updates. And we've talked about Tulsa and Syracuse both so much. Speaking of which, definitely go check out his channel. We did a Syracuse update. It was super fun. And he has so many great videos. Spotting at Syracuse, talking about Syracuse, everything Syracuse, and much more. So definitely check it out. Alrighty, everybody, so without any further delay, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have so many changes to talk about, like I was just referencing, and I'm really excited. And this is going to be probably a long yet really fun update. There's going to be a bunch of references, and we're just going to simply have fun with it. So if there's a couple of mess-ups or goofs-ups or whatever, just bear with us if you don't mind. But nevertheless, without any further delay, we're getting started. Currently hanging out right here at gate number B1 is the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700. This is in the Florida 1 livery. Really great to get to see this the other day at Oklahoma City Will Rogers World Airport for the very first time. It's a super pretty livery. I highly recommend getting out and spotting it if it does come to your local airport at any time. But nevertheless, this guy's kind of making the nonstop service today into the Denver International Airport DEN. And now it's going to be heading off to, I'm trying to remember what the other route I had for it was. I'm sorry, let me think. I'm pretty sure I had Houston Hobby for this. I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. But nevertheless, this guy is currently 3 daily on Denver and 2 daily on Hobby. Really cool to get to see the progression there. And Southwest is doing super good here at Tulsa, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, Anderson, anything to add to Florida 1 here?
Yeah, really awesome to see Houston and Denver here. For Southwest, of course, really liking the Denver service. Really awesome to see Denver on there. We love the Denver International Airport. Obviously, the infrastructure, you got to admit, it's just super awesome. So great to see Denver going strong back-to-back with United, of course. Same goes for Houston as well. Really awesome to see Southwest and United killing it at Tulsa.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Anderson, would you like to do gate B3?
Yeah, absolutely. So here at Gate B3, next up for the Southwest Airlines lineup, we have the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8, of course, arriving in from the Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport, which is a once daily service, and the Las Vegas International Airport, Harry Reid more specifically, on the once daily service as well, which I believe, Connor, is going to be upgraded to a twice daily with Southwest Airlines' new schedule. So really looking forward to that. That's going to be an awesome service.
Yes, as Anderson was just referencing, the first big piece of news for today's airport update. Southwest Airlines has extended their schedule into November, and as such, Tulsa received some huge news. First and foremost, as we'll talk about more towards the end of the update, Las Vegas Harry Reid, as he was just referencing, is going to be going up to twice daily. That's going to be the first time that's happened. It only happened one other time in the route's history since 1998. That's going to be the November of 2019 was the last time that happened. So talk about getting back to pre-pandemic levels. Absolutely loving that effort. That is demonstrating effort, A+ effort. Really liking that, and I'm very excited to see that. And as he was just saying, Phoenix is also doing really good. That's also twice daily on Sundays. Just Sundays only, though. Just in general, so if you know what I'm saying. Just on Sundays. So absolutely loving that effort. That's fantastic. And that is looking good, super good. So thank you, Anderson, for doing that. And how about gate B5 to continue our Southwest lineup? This is going to be the only 10 I see with the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-800. Of course, in the Tennessee 1 livery, a brand new model to the collection. Somehow got to see this at Tulsa a couple weeks ago. Coming in from Houston Hobby, and my luck at Hobby's been so good. In Oklahoma City, I got to see the Hobby flight was a desert livery a couple months ago. That was super cool. And now Tennessee 1, as I was just referencing, coming in. So as I said, this guy's going to be coming in right now. Actually, we're going to have it doing some different routes since I already used Hobby. This guy's currently coming in on one of 4 daily flights from Dallas to Phil. That's actually where it went out to, so I mean, that's close enough. And this guy's now out to Chicago Midway, which has been another really great route for Tulsa here. I'm absolutely loving the effort. So Anderson, what do you have to say about Tennessee 1, or even any of those routes, or really anything just in general? It can be a general assessment if you want it to be.
Yeah, so B5, an awesome pivotal gate for Tulsa, of course. Another great Southwest gate here. absolutely doing dividends for the airport, of course. Tennessee 1 is a fantastic livery, outstanding job by Southwest Airlines. NG Models did an excellent job representing it here on their beautiful 737-800 mold, of course. Dallas absolutely killing it on the 4 daily frequency. That is just crazy. That is super awesome to see that. Going back to back with, of course, American. Just different airports, of course, but nonetheless the same city, going crazy with the amount of frequencies. So it's just super awesome to see. And then, of course, Chicago Midway, same deal as Dallas, with Chicago O'Hare, of course, being operated on United and American. So really awesome to see that, the competition there. And yeah, the 2 daily Midway is really awesome to see. Obviously, one of those more interesting Southwest hubs, kind of up in the not as far south west, I guess you could say, which is really awesome to see Southwest kind of going at it with the more not really obscure, but just better frequencies, I guess, on the southern destinations, but they're still doing really well up north as well. So really awesome to see that for Southwest.
Couldn't have said it better myself, dude. Goodness, you might as well just start running these Tulsa updates. Goodness gracious, dude. All right. Speaking of which, you're up the bat, boy. Go right at it.
Yeah, so next up here at Gate Bravo 7, which obviously is one of their hard stand gates here at Tulsa. We'd really like to see a jet bridge added here in the near future.
Absolutely really agree, cool. Dude. Man, this dude literally has it made. He might as well just take over the updates. My goodness.
Might have to. So, yeah, it'd be really cool to see some jet bridges. Obviously, the jet bridges Tulsa does have are very, very nice. The beautiful steel-sided jet bridges that are pretty new, and they're doing really well, sheltering these passengers from the elements. And so it'd be really cool to see a jet bridge here in the future, but we'll have to see. Shared between... let's see. Between the Southwest gates and obviously Bravo 9, the Breeze gate. So yeah, anyways, here at Gate Bravo 7 is the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700 with split scimitars, arriving in from St. Louis on the twice daily frequency, and we'll be heading out to Austin on the once daily frequency. Connor, I believe St. Louis at one point, wasn't it a once daily frequency and the load factors were a little bit better?
Yeah, so really good question there, Anderson. So St. Louis has been around for a very long time. We're talking 1982, so that's obviously well over 40 years of operation on that service, and as such, Southwest has been all over the place. I even think there was a time when it was very competitive with the TWA that they had it all the way up at 3 at one point, which is pretty impressive. So, but no, I think that once it was once daily, I think this was right after the 2008 recession when everything got back on track. Around the 2010 timeframe that we were seeing really good loads there. And the loads are still okay at 2 daily. It's typically sitting somewhere between 60 and 80%. I think a couple reasons that are contributing to this is there may be a grant that's currently operating the service. I could be wrong on that, not sure. The other restriction I believe is Southwest is really reluctant when it comes to moving over frequencies. If anybody's paid attention to Southwest's consistency at these mid-sized airports like Tulsa and Syracuse, you'd probably notice that Southwest has been very reluctant to really change very much, and that's why I was surprised with Las Vegas going up 2 daily, because typically they're going to keep whatever they start the route on. So for instance, Chicago Midway, when that was here in 2015, that was 2 daily, never changed, came back as a new route, still 2 daily. St. Louis has been 2 daily for its full future, and despite the loads, it's still been that same frequency. But I'm thinking that maybe because St. Louis is... it may be, they may have a deal with Southwest to where, hey, you need to fly X number of flights, 150 flights a day, to keep the fees down like 25% off the gas prices or gates slot prices or whatever it is. So that's a thought. Another great example that comes to mind to me is the 3 daily service to Baltimore from Syracuse. That could have been a grant that might be to meet the Baltimore requirements for Southwest so they can keep the prices down. And those loads have seen better days as well, even though the route just started. So typically, you would want to see that more as a twice daily usually, but it's 3 daily because that's what they have there. So again, that's a really good question. Sorry to go so long into an answer there. I just want to give the full answer of why I think that is, and who knows, there could be more to that as well. I'd really like to dig more into that. So if any like Southwest employees or anybody knows, or if you know somebody, if you don't mind, please give me a little bit insight. Anderson and I rather, we'd really appreciate that because we're trying to figure that out. And that's a really good point you bring up, Anderson. So fantastic. Feel free to keep elaborating on B7 here if you had other items to add here.
No, once again, yeah, just really awesome to see St. Louis. I really like that airport, especially the Southwest operations there are just really cool. to see the 737-700 operating between Tulsa and St. Louis, as well as Austin, just both of those airports. Honestly, I think they're both kind of comparable to each other in that they both have a good amount of Southwest operations and both have a pretty fair amount of demand from the greater Tulsa area, I guess we could refer to it as. So, yeah, once again, at Bravo 7, the Southwest Airlines 737-700 with splits, arriving in from St. Louis on the twice daily frequency, and will be heading out to Austin.
Very nice, dude. Speaking of very nice, I've been looking forward to this for months, ever since it got announced. This is a very bittersweet moment for the airport, and really for me as well, just being a blank airline enthusiast, Airways, I should say, technically speaking, but really been looking forward to this, and I'll talk about why it's so important to me and why I'm so happy to see this here. But at Gate Bravo 9, Breeze Airways is back. This Breeze Airways Embraer that's 195 is making the inaugural service in from the Orlando International Airport, MCO. And man, I am so glad to see this. So let's talk about it. So this is our next brand new service. I believe this is nonstop number. We currently have a couple routes that are pending. This should be like new route number 25 or 27. I'm not sure where we're at. Somewhere in the 20s, high 20s. This is a brand new service for us. This is Breeze Airways' only route at this time. It is an Embraer 195 twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays with service to Orlando International Airport. This is Tulsa's, oh my gosh, I think this is our 6th or 7th attempt at Orlando International Airport. We've had Orlando Sanford on Allegiant for about 10 years now, just approaching that 10-year milestone, and now we have Breeze. So several airlines have came and gone on this service, and one is coming back, ironically enough. Let's go way back here. I'm going to try to make this as consolidated yet efficient as possible. Delta Connection started this service when they had a little hub going in 2006, and as such, Southwest Airlines thought it would be a good idea to compete on a Saturday-only service. So this Delta Connection service was a CRJ200, I believe it was a Comair flight. That was from 2006. It did very well. The loads were like 80-90%. It was a really smart choice by Delta. Unfortunately, due to the dehubbing of that, they decided to discontinue that, and as such, Southwest came in, ironically, what seems for the competition. This story will come up again in a moment, and left too. Then we skip ahead to 2000. I'm pretty sure the next route we had was Frontier in 2017. I'm pretty sure. I'm thinking here for a moment, but I'm pretty sure that was the next Orlando International flight. Keep in mind, Allegiant had Sanford for 4 years at this point. So Frontier started Orlando International when they came back to Tulsa, and as such, Southwest Airlines in 2018 started Saturday-only service again. Southwest actually pulled out after that summer on the Saturday only. It was just a one-and-done year, which was really interesting. I think that was more infrastructure and logistical issues rather than the performance of the route, because again, it was 90%. Frontier did really well with the route. They did very successfully, and they pulled out for the winter 2018, which was an interesting choice after a very good winter 2017. And they did it in summer 2019, and then that route got discontinued. Well, that skips us ahead to 2023 when Breeze Airways started this service, and as you guys probably expect, Southwest Airlines back on this Saturday-only service as well. Southwest will start on April 15th and run through June 3rd, and with the extended schedule, other major change alongside the Las Vegas situation is now that Breeze Airways, Southwest will be having Saturday-Sunday service this week. Tulsa's first Saturday-Sunday service, to my knowledge. This will be beginning, coming back on October 7, I think, 7 and 8. That should be the first day there. So really looking forward to that. Meanwhile, sister ship airport, Will Rogers World Airport, Oklahoma City, is going daily at that time. They already have it Saturday only. So huge congratulations to OKC, but we're focused on Tulsa right now. Well, let's get into the Breeze element of this. Sorry for the explanation, but the reason I bring that up is because this route's been very desired by Tulsans for a very long time. The Frontier service was very successful. Every Southwest iteration has been very successful. Heck, 15 years ago, Delta was very successful, and now we have a perfect airline for this, Breeze Airways. And the reason this is even more special, in my opinion, is because Breeze Airways, of course, cut Tampa, Orlando, New Orleans, Nashville, and San Antonio, all very disappointing losses for the Tulsa community. And obviously, if it wouldn't have been for this route, we wouldn't have Breeze at all. And I've talked to Anderson about this several times. When it comes to Tulsa, I'm really fortunate that this is the airport I get to run around and hang out with, because in my opinion, in the region of the Southern Plains, that Oklahoma City has too much Southwest. They have barely any Allegiant, barely any no Breeze. At Northwest Arkansas, that's Fayetteville. This is about 2 hours east of Tulsa. They have a bunch of Allegiant and Breeze, which is really cool. factors look great. It's going to be twice weekly. Fayetteville, speaking of which, as I was just referencing, will be going up to 4 weekly on the service. They are looking at a Phoenix free service, which kind of sucks after a short-lived start. But they are going to be going up to 4 weekly, so I think Tulsa can definitely follow that. And it's funny, Anderson and I have talked about this several times too. Now, Breeze, when they started 4X New Orleans, 4 weekly to clarify, 4 weekly San Antonio, and then 4 weekly Tampa. Tampa was a really good choice. The other two, I think once or twice would have been better. They reduced them. We're still in the pandemic, so unfortunately that start was too far gone. Tampa got cut for whatever reason. I've talked about that several times. I think it was absolutely ridiculous, so I'm not going to bring that up right now. What I'm bringing up here is that Breeze is doing super well, and I think this will be hopefully a new staple for the airport. I'm really hopeful that this will turn into a new flagship route for Breeze, and hopefully they can build on this. I would love to see Tampa return. I would love to see new services to places like San Francisco, even like LAX, San Diego, Vegas, Phoenix. I would really like to see them even try some smaller cities if they keep getting established, like even like a Fort Lauderdale or Fort Myers. Tampa, as I said, even though it's a bigger city, but that just needs to return. And what's supposed to. Just really awesome to see, very fortunate to see this, and yeah, considering the circumstances and how close we were to losing Breeze altogether, it's just really cool to see that Breeze was able to stick it out, and now they found a route that's very successful. It was a really good choice, and as I sarcastically said, and I think it's an appropriate time to say this after that long spiel about it, if Breeze finds a way to fail on this route, they might as well just leave. So I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. And they had a really awesome inaugural send-off, another sold-out flight like I was just referencing, but they had a really good celebration for all the passengers. And I can definitely justify when I got to see this a couple weeks ago when I was spotting at Tulsa. This was one of the big highlights that I really wanted to go see. I saw a bunch of kids that looked really excited out the window. Granted, it was right next to spring break, so that would make sense. But it was just really cool to get to see. And as I said, I mean, $39 fares on an airline that is seriously nice. It literally says on the fuselage right here, or that's flybreeze.com, sorry. But nevertheless, their slogan is seriously nice, and not to mention how cool the 195 is. And this flight's on the 195, which is so funny because I was expecting this to be a 190 or A220 hopefully in the future. But it's literally 195. This is the only Gemini jets. They haven't made a 190, just 195, so it's literally perfect. So this is really awesome. I'm really glad to see this, and I think I've elaborated too much. I've elaborated more on the situation rather than the route, the actual flight itself. But it's a really cool addition for Tulsa, and I told Anderson this as well when we were talking about it. I really wanted to enjoy this route as much as possible because I don't know when the next new flight's going to be after that Southwest Saturday only resumption to Orlando because we don't have anything scheduled right now. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Breeze can do in the future. I think this literally was, it was like do or die right on the moment. And thank gosh they announced Orlando because that could turn into so many new routes without, because if I think at OKC, they're probably not going to come back. But I feel like they have a chance here at Tulsa now that they have kept this. And I would love to see even like New Orleans possibly return twice a week and so many other desires long term. But the fact that Breeze is still here is honestly, it's kind of like a miracle, to be honest, and it's really cool. So I think that's a plenty from me. I think Anderson's going to have quite a bit to add on to this. And Anderson, please talk as long as you'd like. I'll give some cool views of Breeze here while you do so. But yeah, Anderson, what do you think about this new service to Orlando MCO from TUL?
Wow, yeah, that was a seriously nice assessment right there. That was absolutely amazing. So, as you were saying, with Southwest coming in on the Orlando service to compete, obviously Southwest has tried Orlando to Tulsa in the past, and it seems like they keep cutting it and bringing it back and cutting it and bringing it back when another airline, tries to fly the same route. It seems like Southwest is only flying Tulsa to Orlando kind of to defend their turf, I guess, because it seems like Southwest for some reason doesn't really want to fly the service. They're just trying to compete with other airlines, which to be honest I think is a little bit silly. And if you're going to fly the route, just keep it. Don't do it just to compete. But it is what it is. Obviously Orlando, I think as we've seen the loads, just looking at the seat map, and keep in mind the economy passengers oftentimes haven't even selected their seats. So we look at the seat maps on the Breeze website, and a lot of these flights are sold out, which is really awesome. So I have faith that this route is going to continue to do well and maybe even get upgraded at some point to either more frequency or even an A220 or something like that, which would be really nice to see. I really don't think this is going to end at any time soon, at least hopefully not. As we've seen, Breeze for some reason will cut routes that kind of make sense to cut out of Tulsa, but at the same time we saw what happened with Tampa. That was a really good service and they cut it. So, and then you have airports like New Orleans, San Antonio, Nashville that could have definitely made it, but they just flew it a little bit too much. Lower frequencies would have been a little bit more desirable, I think. And then obviously with San Antonio, that was kind of Breeze's Texas airport, and now they completely left the state of Texas, which is very unfortunate. There's something else I was going to mention about Breeze at Tulsa. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I would like to see New Orleans return at some point. That would be really, really awesome to see. New Orleans is... Breeze has been kind of selective of where they fly out of New Orleans as of recent. I feel like they expanded a lot more out of New Orleans in the past. For some reason, they don't really add a whole lot of new routes out of there, which is very unfortunate. But yeah, I'm very excited to see where Breeze goes from here out of Tulsa. I could see, this is what I was trying to think of earlier that I forgot. I could see Breeze trying a San Francisco to Tulsa. I think that would really work pretty well because obviously United is very stingy. And I could see Breeze starting a San Francisco to Tulsa. So we'll have to see though. Hopefully they do. I don't know, maybe in the next announcement we could see something like that. But nonetheless, very excited to see Breeze here out of Tulsa finally. I guess with a service that they're happy with. Tampa, again, would have been good, but Breeze just had to do what they had to do. So very excited for Breeze's future here at Tulsa International Airport.
Man, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was music to my ears. That was really good. I think San Francisco, among many other routes, would be very awesome. I would really like to see that. Frontier was even very successful with San Jose, and that's not even close to San Francisco, so that kind of speaks dividends on that. Tampa was super successful, too. I think that was more of a logistical issue. Probably slots at Tampa is why they had to axe it, but that's a story for another time, as we might talk about that more later. And then... yeah, New Orleans, they've been very selective. That could be slot restrictive too. All these darn slots, man, just don't make sense. But at least they're flying to the big airports. And yeah, I guess Breeze is happy with this route, but they better be. But if this turns into the miracle that we end up getting like a dozen Breeze routes at some point, oh man, this will be a story for a lifetime. It's like a Hail Mary pretty much for football. But anyways, nevertheless, this guy's out to Orlando MCO, and what an awesome route to have. And I'm really, really appreciative of Breeze's efforts here at Tulsa International Airport. And sorry that the video's been a little long. I told you guys that was going to go long to start with, but we're not even close to done. So let's keep this going here. We're going to talk as much as possible. We're going to be making a bunch of references and just getting after it. This United Express number ERJS175 is at another hard stand gate. This is B11. They have been parking aircraft here, as I was talking about in a couple of previous updates. I did see another one when I was there most recently, heading over to Mexico, so that was very cool. I don't know where he's coming in from, probably Denver for the most part, and Houston as well. So that's exactly what we have here. He's currently waiting for his next flight, and it's kind of interesting how we're not flying this aircraft, even though there's plenty of demand for it. This is our San Francisco flight right here. It's just sitting out on the hard stand. I just don't understand. But as Anderson said, he was literally perfect, knocked on the assessment there. They're very stingy when it comes to their expansion. So United blank, I'm not going to say anything more on that. Let's head over to the next United flight. All right, Anderson, you're up the bat. Let's see it.
Yes, so getting into more United aircraft here at Gate Bravo 10, getting into the even number gates now at the Bravo Concourse. We have this United Express Embraer E175 operated by SkyWest on the turn-on flight to Chicago O'Hare, which is a 2 daily service on United. Would really like to see this upgraded in the future. I think that the, United could definitely do a bit more than 2 daily Embraer 175s, but it is what it is. Obviously, you have Southwest in there competing, as we touched on, in the Southwest section, and then of course you have American as well. So nonetheless, still a really awesome service to have regardless of the aircraft or frequency. The United Embraer 175 is a really, really nice aircraft to fly on, so I can't really complain too much when you have United 175s flying anywhere, because it's just an awesome aircraft. So really nice to see them here at Tulsa, and we'll get on to the next gate.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with that. It would be really nice to see aircraft upgauge here, but I can definitely understand why they've never done it, because when they started this around 2001, American was very, very dominant on the Chicago service. In fact, so much so that it was 5 daily mainline. Well, O'Hare's kind of deteriorated, and as such, Tulsa's really expanded in terms of new destinations, so Chicago's not became as much of a practical connecting point anymore for United and American. Southwest is a different story. That's a story that we'll talk about at the end of the video. But as of for Chicago, United's done 2 daily and American's done 2 daily regional jets compared to 5 daily mainline, and that's kind of a variety of reasons. We have service to Washington, D.C., New York, LAX, Phoenix, Miami, Charlotte, everywhere. So Austin. So that's kind of there as well. And then United, I think they've really expanded into their other services, which we're about to talk about. But yeah, they had 4 daily CRJ200 to one point. It was never really mainlined. So I think it's one of those that United wants to provide enough connectivity to where passengers have options, but also not overflight. And the flights are typically doing really well where they're at. So United really needs to come down on the prices too if they want. They're very expensive. They need to come down on the prices on that service particularly, not the other two. The other two are fine. This service particularly is a little expensive in terms of what they're offering on it in terms of frequencies and everything. But anyways, stories for another time. Just thought we'd elaborate there a little bit. Speaking of that, double daily United mainline is back at long last. You guys probably remember in November how upset I was. Well, not upset, but you know, it's one of those deals for the season that some of the mainline goes out. Well, now we're back to double mainline, and we do have a special substitution here at Gate Bravo 8 as we're into the evening gates. As Anderson was just referencing, with these United Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8 in the Evo Blue livery coming in from the Denver International Airport DEN. We're really happy to get to see this. As you guys know, this flight was on regional jets for all of the winter, and now we're finally getting our mainline back. So they have done a couple of substitutions. This flight's typically a Boeing 737-800 and arrives. This is the first time they did it once during the pandemic, but this is really the first time in about 6 years that they have brought in mainline during the daylight hours. There was once 1 month during the pandemic they did, but during the actual daylight that they've actually consistently done it, which is really cool. So this is typically 737-800 and arrives at 6:20 in the evening, and they substituted it one of the first days. It was on March 5. They substituted it for MAX 8 Evo, and I was actually spotting, so I did get to see it, which is really cool. It's a little past sunset, but it's okay. A couple weeks later, I got to see a 737-800 like that Continental globe in the back that I was just referencing right there. I got to see one of those landing from the garage, which was really cool. But anyways, what I'm saying is the Denver flights mainline. They did flow in a couple of extra 737 flights to Denver during spring break, which is awesome on Saturday, so I really enjoyed that. But yes, it was really cool to get to see this here. I think this is awesome. Next month it will be a 319, so I'm really happy to see the consistency going. And it's going to arrive now at 8:30, so that will be really close to sunset time. So who knows, maybe I get lucky and get some last minute light on it. We'll see. But yeah, I'm really happy with United's progress here. This flight's currently, I think it's 2 commuter 145s, a 175 SkyWest, and then the 737 flight. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It's a 175, a 145, a 737-800, and then the last arrival of the day at 10 p.m. is a CRJ200 for SkyWest. So, yes, absolutely loving the effort for United. They're really balancing it out much better. Yes, it's just really cool to have mainline here, even if it's inconsistent. We've had a MAX 9 substitution. We had 739 substitutions. No 737-700 substitutions. Yes, that means that they're selling out, which is really good. And yeah, so they're doing really good there. Very pleased with that. And the mainline's really cool here. So Anderson, anything to add to this MAX 8 before we take it into the next mainline aircraft?
Yes, as you're alluding to, of course, we have United's inconsistent mainline or just operations in general taking place yet again here at Tulsa International Airport, but nonetheless really nice to see, of course, the mainline occurring on the Denver service. Going back to back with Southwest, of course, and we would say Frontier, but you guys know the story with that. They did what they had to do. So, again, just another pivotal Denver service here for Tulsa. Really excited to see how this route continues to progress going forward.
Yes, Frontier. Oh boy, we'll have to talk about that later. B6.
Yes, so next up here at Gate B6, we have this United Airlines Boeing 737-800 in the Continental Globe livery, arriving in from Houston Intercontinental, which is operated on, of course, the 738. Then we have a Mesa CRJ900, 2 Commuter 145s, and the 737-800, of course. So a really good variety of aircraft flying the Houston Intercontinental service here to Tulsa. A really nice route, kind of another one of those Dallas-Fort Worth type routes, just a big Texas city, pretty close to Tulsa, but there's a ton of demand between there. So really awesome to see kind of these shorter flights between Tulsa and Dallas and Houston. Really awesome to see Houston growing with United Airlines.
I absolutely agree with that, and that's a really good perspective. I haven't really thought about it as a local, so I really appreciate Anderson bringing that up. We do have a bunch of short flights that are mainline flights. It's really cool. And Anderson, actually, believe it or not, Tulsa to Denver is actually shorter than Tulsa to Houston, if you want to look at it from that perspective. So, yes, it's really cool to see. Yes. It's even shorter. So, yeah, we have a bunch of short, big aircraft routes, but we're going to be changing that up here in a minute. But first and foremost, we have a really interesting new visitor to the scene, and that's going to be Mesa Airlines flying for United? Yes, that's right. This Mesa Airlines CRJ-900 is operated not on the behalf of American Eagle. This is a United Express flight. Non-stop service out to the Houston George Bush Intercontinental International Airport. So with the Mesa exchange, now Mesa is now operating some United Airlines flights, and as such, this is one of them right here. So Tulsa was not scheduled initially to be a new destination until last minute, and then they threw on some CRJ-900s onto the schedule. And I actually got to see one. That's kind of what I'm recreating here. So I got to see one when I was going to San Jose del Cabo in Mexico. I was at that window over there in the corner. I'm kind of pointing to it. And I saw Mesa, and I was just like, that's so weird. I got a backlit picture. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. But then I was able to see it push back once we were waiting for our flight to board from this perspective, about right here. And I was able to get a picture of it on Jet Photos, which was really cool because nobody uploaded it. I uploaded it as a hot photo, which is pretty much, it gets, Jet Photos has a long queue that usually takes about 2 weeks for people to go through the pictures. Probably, if anybody that's uploaded there probably knows what I'm talking about. But this was a hot photo because I got it on immediately because nobody's uploaded in the Mesa house livery yet since it's still relatively new. So it's really cool to get to see this and get to put it on Jet Photos along with other pictures that probably took too much of my time. But nevertheless, Jet Photos is pretty cool. And yeah, as long as you master their system, it's pretty good. Nevertheless, let's get back to Mesa though here. Yeah, so Mesa's now operating for United. It's really weird to see them at the United gates. It's just really abrupt, they didn't really go through a process. It just really just moved really fast. So yeah, but we do have United here on the CRJ-900 as I was referencing. He's heading off to Houston. So we have Houston for right now. I would not be surprised to see Denver in the future, and who knows if it gets really bad, maybe even Chicago. But yeah, it's really cool to see this. Very unique, and very glad to have the model here to really represent it. And even though it's not going to be American anymore, I do have still a really interesting, neat use for this. So Anderson, what do you think about the change up here now, Mesa flying for United Express?
Yeah, this is a really interesting change. I'm very eager to see how this is going to progress going forward. Very eager to see what the CRJ-900s will look like in the actual United Airlines livery. But yeah, it's going to be really cool to see this again. Not really used to seeing United operate the CRJ-900. So IAH on the CRJ-900, it just doesn't really line up in my brain quite yet, but obviously it's a new thing, so we'll get used to it, but that's going to be very cool to see. So very excited to see where these aircraft continue to expand into going into the future here.
Completely agreed with that. Just really weird, but I'm sure we'll get used to it soon. But Anderson's going to have a filled day with gate Alpha 3. Let's get into this.
G4, welcome Allegiant.
G4, welcome Allegiant, yes.
So here we are at gate Alpha 3 with this G4 Allegiant Air Airbus A319 in the Travelers or Deal livery. This aircraft has arrived in from Los Angeles and will be heading up to Las Vegas. Both of these services are Monday and Friday. Las Vegas is a 12 p.m. arrival and Los Angeles is an 8:30 p.m. arrival. So pretty good spread, a pretty good range of time there. And yeah, G4 killing it here at Tulsa. I believe there's 5 destinations. Correct me if I'm wrong, Connor. But going to be really awesome to see just where Allegiant goes from Tulsa. Hopefully they add some more stuff. Allegiant has been pretty stingy with adding new routes to a lot of the bigger airports. I feel we've seen a lot of expansions with the smaller regional airports. For example, Asheville has been one of those. So, Allegiant's doing what they got to do, but nonetheless, Allegiant's kind of one of those airlines that just carries an airport, if you know what I mean. They really do offer some really awesome fares, and if it weren't for Allegiant, a lot of these airports probably wouldn't be as big as they are, or at least have as many passengers, because a lot of the reason people decide to travel is because an airline flies a certain route. It's not because people, always want to travel, so they just have to book a ticket with anyone. For example, with Syracuse to Charleston, I'm sure there wasn't as much demand for Charleston before Breeze Airways started flying the route, but now that the route's there, people see that, and they're like, hey, that would be a pretty cool vacation to take. So Allegiant is kind of one of those airlines that's filling in a lot of those gaps, providing a lot of awesome service for a lot of locals. So really awesome to see Allegiant here at Tulsa going at it with Las Vegas and Los Angeles.
Yes, exactly right. Really good assessment. So there are 5 destinations. Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Orlando Sanford are year-round, all on Monday, Friday. Orlando arrives at 8 a.m., Vegas 12, LAX 8:30, which is a little late, but they still fill it. So there you go. Destin and Tampa are both on summer seasonals. Destin is a 3-weekly summer seasonal. Monday, Friday, Saturday will be the schedule this year, which is awesome. Monday, Friday, Saturday, excuse me. And St. Petersburg, which is Tampa, is going to be Thursday, Sunday, as usual. But the really exciting news is this has been extended into the fall. October and November have a schedule for St. Petersburg on an A319. Typically, A320 route will be A319 this winter. I really hope this transpires. I would love to see them continue this, so hopefully this will continue. And I'm really hopeful that we'll see Phoenix, Mesa, and Sarasota return. I'm not leaning on it, but it would be very cool. Mesa did really well, and Sarasota even was making a nice little rally there, so I would really like to see both those return. I'm not getting my hopes up, but it would be a really nice surprise. That's what I was referencing with those breeze routes. I don't know how many nonstops we have because the website in Tulsa still claims we have them. The Phoenix Mesa website and the Sarasota website claim otherwise. Breeze may have, I don't know if they take off 2-month seasonal routes off the route map or not. I didn't pay attention last year, which is my fault because I thought we had a good chance with them and then I did some research. So, but yeah. All good. Really excited about Tampa getting extended, though. I think it has a really good chance to go year-round. I think that would be a great Thursday, Sunday, year-round. And the timing's really good, too. On the summer, it leaves early in the morning, which is understandable. But in the winter, when it's going to operate, it's going to leave at 7 p.m. and arrive at 6, which is that's perfect timing. That's what Los Angeles should be, especially going out west. But it makes sense because on Thursday, you do miss Friday work, but you literally get to work all day Thursday and then take a flight. And then you come back Sunday evening, get a little bit of time to rally up for work on Monday. So really smart right there. That's fantastic. And Allegiant, their regional expansion also has been of huge note as well. I definitely agree with that. Asherville, even like Allentown, and many other places. But yeah, we'll keep that moving right there. Alrighty, we got a SkyWest 175 from American Eagle out to Los Angeles. Speaking of which, so a little bit of competition right here. American is daily on the service. They have a little bit better of a time. I think their time's a little bit better. It arrives at about 4 p.m. local, which is much better. So I'd love to take this flight sometime. I always find myself trying to purposely avoid the regional jets to get on heavy airplanes like 787s and 777s on hub-to-hub flights is how I find myself doing this. So we'll see if I'm able to end up doing that at some point for convenience or whatever reason may come up. But yeah, it's still looking good nevertheless, and it's a really awesome flight. I'm very glad that we have it. And even though American has some really expensive prices on their flights, I know locals are willing to pay for them. Dallas and Charlotte are usually really reasonable, even Chicago. And then once you drop off into, especially LaGuardia is very expensive. LAX isn't as bad. Phoenix is okay. Reagan's, yeah. So, but we have the nonstops. That's what matters. For the business people that will get reimbursed, that's what the goal is. And obviously, leisure travelers that find a good deal in it. But nevertheless, enough rambling. LAX to start our American section's looking really good. Alrighty, Alpha 7 pushing back.
Yeah, so here at Alpha 7 pushing back, we have an Envoy, American Eagle Embraer 175 on the once weekly, I believe, right?
Miami's once weekly, yes.
Yes, okay. On the once weekly flight in from Miami. And then, so that's a Saturday only service, and those aircraft will be heading out to Austin, Texas, which is really awesome to see Austin there, competing with, I believe, Southwest. The Austin service was operated at a pretty good time. I can't remember exactly what it was. Then they moved the time. It's a very interesting situation. It arrives at like 9 p.m. It departs at 9 a.m. or something like that. And the loads just haven't been too good, or as good as they were in the past since they did that. So hoping that they kind of move that back and fill this aircraft up a little bit more for the Austin flights. But nonetheless, it's a really cool service. Austin isn't really one of those airports you would imagine American flying a route like this to an airport like Tulsa, but nonetheless, it's a really cool route. So I love to see that. So really awesome to see there. If you have anything you'd like to add, go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. So it's a really cool route, and yes, as Anderson was referencing, this flight came in between 4 and 6 p.m. for the first year of its operation when it started in November 2021. Typically, this flight would arrive at about 4 o'clock and leave at 5, which the point of this route's more for leisure travelers, obviously. I mean, there's a little bit of economic business travel here, but not enough to fill the plane, obviously. So what American's trying to do here is get some point-to-point leisure traffic. And even at this point in time, a little bit of connecting opportunity, not a bunch, not near as much like Dallas, but comparable to your, I would even go as far as like LaGuardia type connection opportunities. And they're doing good with it. The timing was better previously, like I said. But yeah, this flight leaves at 9 a.m., which for leisure travelers. And when you have a Southwest flight that's half the price that leaves at 1 p.m., I mean, that kind of speaks for itself. I will say, though, that I did find a flight that was $63 one way. That is the cheapest American ticket I've ever seen. So as you can tell, they're desperate to sell seats, but you're not doing it in the right way. You need to fly. They had a good time to start with, and that's why they need more people like yourself and I to actually manage this airline properly. So that's really good. And yes, it's a really cool route nevertheless, and I hope they can help it out. But nevertheless, it's still really cool to have, and they're going right after Southwest. Also, Anderson, I'm sorry, I didn't give you a chance to elaborate on the American Eagle Los Angeles service. Did you have anything to add on to that?
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just going to briefly mention how it's kind of another one of those awesome back-to-back services we have. In this case, we have Los Angeles on Allegiant and American, so just another awesome competition there between two airlines out of Tulsa. And that's a lot of reason why these airlines try to get their prices lower and make it a little bit more affordable. Is to obviously competition is you lower your prices, you're trying to get more passengers, and so as they continue to do that, it's kind of like a back and forth type of thing, and then you get more people to book, which means higher load factors, which is always just a great thing for airports across the globe.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Speaking of which, here we go with the absolute flagship route of the airport, and talk about the shortest one that I've flown 23 times, so it comes in at a whopping 40 minutes usually. This is the American Airlines Airbus A320 operating it today. You guys know where I'm talking about, the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. This flight is currently coming in on one of the 7 daily mainline flights. There are a couple regional jets on different days, but for the most part it is mainline, so that's awesome. Mainly 737s, but this month the A320 has made an appearance. It comes in at 6 p.m., which is awesome. So I'm really glad to get to see the variety at long last here. Obviously, it's been 737, 737, 737 for months, but luckily we finally get just a touch of variety. I did get to catch this alongside with the United Max from Denver that one day, March 5, which was awesome, so I really enjoyed that. As I said, this coming in from Dallas-Fort Worth, which just absolutely unique route. I've talked about it several times. It's a really awesome route, talking about how short it is on connectivity, and taking 300,000 passengers total both ways every year is really impressive. So let's listen to what Anderson has to say about that. I'm sure Anderson has some good feedback on that from a different perspective.
Yeah, so guys, just think about it for a second, all right? Tulsa to Dallas, another one of those short flights between Tulsa and one of these pretty massive, honestly, cities in Texas, kind of like we were talking about with Houston. A very short flight, operated on not only mainline, but you got 7 daily mainline flights plus a few regional jets in the mix, which that's just unfathomable for me. I mean, just thinking about all the passengers that are flying Tulsa to Dallas, it's probably the anchor destination, I would say, for Tulsa. There's just so many passengers. Yeah, there's just so many passengers flying between these two airports. It's not just Tulsa to Dallas. Of course, you have Dallas to Tulsa as well for a lot of those returning passengers and passengers that live in Dallas flying to Tulsa. So just a really awesome service. I'm very, very ecstatic about, I guess, just how these operations are going for Dallas. And then, of course, you have Dallas Love Field for Southwest, which on top of American, just another awesome airline and service flying Tulsa to Dallas. So it's just crazy to think about, but that's how it's been going with Dallas to Tulsa. It's just really awesome to see that.
It absolutely is, and just really, really awesome route. And predominantly all that connecting opportunity in Dallas is the main reason why you're going to see so many people on these flights. But there is still quite a bit of actual point-to-point demand, which is really cool. In fact, I did this route just to go spot at DFW, which obviously is not your everyday traveler situation, but there's a bunch to do in Dallas. It's a really cool city. They have several sports teams. I know, but I mean, the Metro's huge. The Metro's like 10 million. There's something ridiculous. So obviously there's a bunch of people just going for actual travel, leisure travel, business. Yeah, a bunch of economic development too there. So I mean, it just works out all perfectly, and Southwest has their 4 daily, but honestly, this is literally the heartbeat, the anchor, the core, the backbone, the staple. There was a word in my head when you said the anchor. I was trying to think of what it was. It was the The Rock. This is the Rock of the airport. It literally is. So we're never gonna lose that. That's an awesome route and just absolutely crazy to think about. But man, it's just super cool. So I'll absolutely love to talk about that. It's always a fascinating operation. Syracuse really doesn't have anything like that. They have a couple LaGuardia flights and JFK, but it's all really spread out. It's not like one city has 9 737s a day to JFK or LaGuardia. It's just not like that. So really cool to see in that connotation. All right, texting up for departures, another nonstop American Airlines service, the CRJ-700 on behalf of SkyWest Airlines at the Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. Don't worry, this service did not get downgauged. We have a very unique situation here. This is one daily Envoy 175, but on Saturdays this month, they've sent a second daily flight along with the Envoy flight. So the Envoy flight comes in at about 6 p.m. However, this CRJ-700, there's a morning flight on Saturdays that comes in at about 10 a.m., which is an absolutely genius idea by American, and they should do that every day because these services have been selling out. This has been the best performing route out of Tulsa, to be honest, which is kind of surprising considering they didn't even have it until about a couple years ago. But it's done really well. It sells out every day. It's really good, especially considering how late the flight goes out. It leaves at like 6:30. So I'm really impressed. It's been really solid here at the airport, and I'm looking very forward to seeing how Phoenix can develop here in the near future. So it's a really fun route. I think 2 daily is definitely in the cards, and OKC is also doing very well with it. So looking really good. Anderson, what do you have to say about this?
Yes, as you were saying, very well played by American with the timing and the frequency of this route. Surprised it wasn't operated, sooner than they started the service because just again, it's kind of like a Dallas-Fort Worth, just not as close, and probably a little bit smaller of a metro for sure. But really awesome American hub, Phoenix to Tulsa, really awesome service. Hoping that we see more frequencies added in the future, not just on the weekends, but it is what it is for the time being. At least we have the route at all because that's just a really awesome service.
I completely agree. And another nonstop CRJ flight taxiing in over here.
Yeah, so next up, taxiing in from DCA, Washington National, of course, the American CRJ 900 on the once daily service from DCA. Not really a whole lot going on here. It's really awesome that Tulsa has a service like DCA just in general, especially in the CRJ 900 for an airport like DCA. Flying to a destination like Tulsa is not bad at all. Of course, there's a lot of I'm assuming that this route is probably mostly point to point. If I had to guess, probably a little bit like New York LaGuardia.
Quite a bit of
business travel.
Quite a bit of business travel, but also a good amount of leisure too. We're rock on.
Yeah, so business and leisure, of course, but mostly point to point for this route. So nonetheless, even if it's just a once daily regional jet, it's not as pitiful as a service like Syracuse to Boston on a once daily Embraer 145. At least it's not, that bad. So really eager to see how DCA continues to progress. I know American tries to fly the A319s out of DCA a lot, so maybe in the future, if DCA continues to progress, we could see maybe some upgrades, even if it's not a larger aircraft. Hopefully we see some more frequencies added. It could be another situation like we have with Phoenix. I'd like to see that, just some more frequencies added, or maybe some time changes to make it maybe a little bit more efficient. But I still think, nonetheless, the way they're doing it right now has been pretty good. So anything you'd like to add, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a really good assessment. But first off, I have to ask, is that just in general, or is that a general assessment?
Yeah, I would say that's a general assessment. I don't think I would say that this one's to a degree. I think this one's just a pretty, pretty solid general assessment.
I agree with that. Okay. Anyways, references aside, yes, the timing is really solid on this route. It's a little early in the morning as it leaves at 5:30, but it gets the business travelers there in an efficient manner, which is kind of the objective here. I completely agree. I think a second daily Saturday service could be in the cards in the future for something like this. Or better yet, 2 CRJ-700s a day. I think you could overnight one, and then one could come in at what do you think, Anderson? Say 4 o'clock and then go back out. I think that would also be pretty solid. So
yeah,
I think that would be awesome.
That sounds pretty reasonable.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That sounds pretty reasonable to me.
Somewhere in that ballpark, or better yet, like OKC has, Southwest adds a DCA, which would also be nice. They were set to add Baltimore, but we don't talk about the pandemic anymore. So, yeah, solid effort, though. Very pleased with that, and it's a really nice service right there. So, and it's, hate to see the pitiful effort from Syracuse on 145s again to Boston. That should be borderline mainline. I don't think DCA is quite a mainline city yet, but Who knows? Speaking of a mainline city, though, that developed really nicely when it started, the American Airlines 737-800 Charlotte service is right here. Or, oh crap, was this your plane, dude? I'm sorry, I think this was your plane.
It's one of mine, but whatever, it's fine. A nice segue into this next aircraft here. So at gate Alpha 10 here, we have the American Airlines Boeing 737-800, of course, on the turnaround flight to Charlotte Douglas International Airport, which is a once daily 737-800 and a once daily CRJ-900 operated by PSA. So Charlotte, another really awesome city for Tulsa to be operating. I'm sure they could send a lot of their connecting passengers through Charlotte, but as we were referencing with Dallas, a lot of those Dallas passengers are connecting through Dallas, which is probably a reason Charlotte isn't operated on a frequency or aircraft type that it probably could be. But nonetheless, even all that considered, I still think that this is doing really well. So really awesome to see Charlotte here at Tulsa operated on the 737-800 and CRJ-900, given a lot of the connecting passengers being flown through Dallas.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I like the word could because I feel like if Dallas wasn't what it was, if we had a more balanced perspective in terms of connecting, I think Charlotte would be 3, Dallas would be 3, Phoenix would be 3, heck, LAX 2, LaGuardia 2, etc., long list. But yes, Dallas is just so saturated to the point where everything else kind of takes the backseat, and that's kind of what we have here. And Charlotte, for reference, Anderson, OKC is a 2 daily main line. I think it's like 2 320s and a 1 regional jet. Actually, it might just be 2 main lines. I'm not sure, but then they have less Dallas flights, so kind of all evens out, obviously. But very interesting indeed, and yeah, really cool route there to say the least. So very glad to have it, and considering this wasn't even a route 10 years ago and it's already in the top 10 destinations, we're doing pretty good, I would say. So love that effort. At the hard stand gate, Alpha 8 is this American Eagle Embraer ERJ-170. This guy is for Republic today, coming in from none other than New York LaGuardia. Super happy that we have this service, of course, considering all the circumstances that we went through to get this service. Still really just in awe about it, to be honest. It's a really cool route. Again, just like DCA, maybe in the future we'll see some expansions, and loads have been still very good, especially over spring break. They were outstanding. Looking forward to seeing what American can do with the service in the future. It's a really cool one. Who knows, maybe Delta will even add it at some point. That would be really wicked, but I'm very pleased to have this service here, and I think it's a really cool one. So it's a really awesome service, and I'm looking very forward to seeing where it can go in the future. It's a very cool route. So Anderson, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, New York LaGuardia on the Embraer 170, absolutely killing it over here, as we've seen with the load factors. They've been doing a really good job. Obviously, this is one of those highly sought-after routes that Tulsa's just been trying to get for a really long time. Not even LaGuardia, but just the New York area in general. Really going after it, just trying everything they can to be able to get more service to this area. So really happy to see that American added yet another destination to Tulsa. Seems to be working really well on the Embraer 170, as we've assessed already. I could see this being upgraded fairly soon, probably for summer travel. I could see a more consistent 175. I believe we had a couple substitutions of the 175 in the past. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
I think it's actually going to be 175 every day in April, which is actually pretty ironic. Which will be awesome. That.
Well, there you go. So I guess if we're already on the 175 pretty much, heck, maybe even in the next couple of years we could see a 319 or something make it in here, or even another frequency, which probably would be a little bit more reasonable, just to give the travelers a little bit more flexibility. Maybe they could do some surveying to figure out when people would rather fly, their New York LaGuardia to Tulsa service or vice versa. Yeah, nonetheless, though, that would be really awesome to see something like that occur in the future. But, yeah, once again, Alpha 8 looking really nice here with this Embraer 170 heading out to New York LaGuardia.
Absolutely loving that effort. Very nice, Anderson. Delta! Finally finding some Delta airplanes. Seems like we've had a bunch of American guides Southwest, and then we just have these Delta planes. So finally found them. I would love for them to expand here. They have quite a few out of Oklahoma City, so hopefully they'll finally give Tulsa some love here at some point. Starting right here at Alpha 6, the Delta Connection Embraer ERJ-170. I'm not going to say what it's substituting for. If you watch these updates, you know exactly what I'm referencing. This guy's currently coming in from Salt Lake City, Utah. Very awesome city, and really glad to have a double daily link with Delta. They've done really well with that service. It's been really cool. I think that would be really cool to see a A220 would be sick, but probably A319 overnight would be really cool. They've been doing really well with it, so I don't think it's out of the question to ask for a mainline overnight or just a once daily mainline. But Delta's being very efficient. They're very efficient with the routes they choose, and that's really cool because they're very efficient, and they usually will not have bad load factors. That's pretty much not. You're not going to see Delta having bad load factors. They're very good at managing routes and adding and removing aircraft capacity and frequencies as needed. So I really do give Delta credit in that regard, and they're very good at that at Tulsa. So Anderson, what do you think about this Delta 170?
Yeah, I completely agree with that assessment, especially with Delta being very logical and I guess very smart with their decisions on how they want to operate a certain service. Would really like to see an overnight A319 or A220 or something like that take place in the future, as the loads have been very good and overnight services tend to do a little bit better. Or if an airline's going to operate a certain frequency on a mainline aircraft, usually the overnights are the ones to do it on. So Salt Lake City would be a really nice airport to see that on. Even if it doesn't happen though, the 170 or what this aircraft is filling in for, still a really nice one. Just the 175 in general, as I think I talked about with United, or maybe it was American, but nonetheless, Salt Lake City, really awesome to see here at Tulsa. And then I guess we could even say Delta's been pretty good, or how am I trying to say this? I guess with Delta's two services here out of Tulsa, it's kind of like an American situation where they're a little bit more selective, with certain frequencies being operated a little bit higher. If you don't mind, I guess we can jump right into the Gate Alpha 4,
Yes.
as this is kind of what I'm referencing. So where we have the 4 daily Atlanta service, a little bit higher than it probably could be, but a lot of that is because they don't have some other services that would help with connecting opportunities. So for instance, Detroit, Minneapolis, airports of that nature, that Delta definitely could operate it, but it would probably take away a little bit of that demand from Atlanta. So I guess, as I was referencing here at Gate Alpha 4, we have this Delta Airlines Boeing 717 on the turn-on flight to Atlanta, which is a 4 daily service. Really awesome to see that. Would like to see, hopefully, as the airport continues to grow, I just think over the next few years, obviously, demand is going to continue to increase. These aircraft are going to continue to fill up. Maybe we could see another frequency added. I believe this is going to go to 5 daily or something like that, right?
Yes, in July.
Yes, so in July, a 5 daily 717. They're gonna be killing it on that's gonna be like another Dallas Fort Worth, but just not quite, if you know what I mean. So really excited for that. 5 daily 717s. Wow, that's gonna be super awesome. The 717, a really interestingly sized aircraft, being replaced now by, I guess maybe more the A220-100, which is pretty unfortunate because the 717 is just a really awesome aircraft. Kind of the last little glimpse of the Mad Dog, as bad as I hate to say it, but at least we're getting 5 daily 717s going into the summer here, which I know we just got to spring, but summer's going to be here before we know it, and we're going to be getting 5 of these things a day here in Tulsa, which is going to be super exciting. So that's it for our Delta section, and we'll get on to the cargo section.
Absolutely, completely agree with that full assessment. That was very good. And yeah, Delta definitely puts all their eggs in one basket when it comes to Atlanta. But I mean, it kind of makes sense because Atlanta is so big, so you can kind of justify why they have so many frequencies in there. But more logically speaking, like I was talking about with American, you could do a 2 or 3 daily Atlanta, 1 daily Detroit, 1 daily Minneapolis, 2 daily Salt Lake City, and even a Seattle and LaGuardia kind of making up for that. But yeah, they've put all their eggs in one basket. But Atlanta's so big and so connective. The connectivity is outstanding there, so I kind of see why. I can understand it. It's a little bit more reasonable, and especially on the aircraft, 717. Tell me crazy, but I never get tired of seeing these. It's a very unique aircraft, just the structure of it, with the engines and the T-tail. It's just, we really don't see a plane like that. I mean, I'm just looking at all these embers right here shown on screen, and the 737s and everything, and the CRJs, but 717s are really very uniquely built aircraft, and it could be saturated due to seeing so many MD-80s previously, but nevertheless, it's a very cool airplane, and Delta's really done a great job with it. So I've been very pleased with that. And Anderson, as you just said, let's get into the cargo section. So let me start panning over here and take it away on the, I believe you're up for the FedEx 757, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. So here at the cargo hard stand, we have this FedEx 757-200, obviously, the freighter variant without winglets. Looking really nice here. That's a really awesome aircraft. Love the FedEx 75. What a workhorse for the FedEx fleet. That's just a very consistent aircraft, of course, but that's one of the only aircraft they have in the fleet, so they got to make use of it. Heading out to, I guess, on the turnaround flight to Fort Worth Alliance, which operates every day but Saturday. So, again, the Fort Worth area, Greater Dallas, killing it, even for the cargo carriers. So, you know, I don't have as much knowledge with the cargo carriers, of course, as I do the airlines, but nonetheless, I can tell, you know, just judging off of kind of how Syracuse cargo is operated, we get a ton of cargo flights in Syracuse, but I don't think we have a service that operates 6 times a week. So this just goes to show, again, it's not just passengers going from Tulsa to Dallas, but it's freight as well. So really awesome to see. Again, at this point, you could call it a once daily 757 between these two wonderful airports.
Absolutely love to see it. And this was also, to clarify, this was a ATR service before the pandemic, so that just shows you the new normal there, so that's pretty impressive. Speaking of new normals, this has been a new normal for us. The FedEx Express Boeing 767-300 pretty much took over for the A300 to Memphis. It's been a very cool service for us. Absolutely love the FedEx 767. It's a very cool airplane. Would love to catch one with winglets. If they get those back at some point, that would be cool. But yeah, loving the FedEx 767. It's a very cool plane. And that Memphis flight, man, really excited to hopefully spot at some cargo airports at some point, just get some variety in there. There's really a bunch to love about these cargo planes. They have so many diverse elements, and usually some of them have really cool liveries or stickers and all the other details. But yeah, they're really cool, and I absolutely love the effort. Anderson, what do you think about that?
I would agree with that assessment. 763 is a really awesome aircraft to see, especially for a hub airport for the freighters. Obviously Memphis. FedEx has a huge operation out of Memphis, not just with the airline or the air service, but a lot of ground stuff going on there as well. I think this may be one of FedEx's, like, I guess, anchor airports, I guess we could say. So of course it makes sense that we have a service to Memphis on the 763, which is really nice to see. That's a once daily, so kind of another Fort Alliance situation, but just probably twice as much volume on the aircraft, so a lot more availability for the freight. Probably a better connecting opportunity for a lot of these packages. Just another awesome staple for the cargo section here at Tulsa International Airport.
Not to mention, there's also quite a few days out of the week. I think it's about 3 or 4 times a week. FedEx will bring an aircraft into OKC, and then it does OKC to Tulsa, and then it goes back on to Memphis at about 11 p.m. So that's really cool. And I've got to catch that A300 several times. I'll send some pictures afterward, Anderson, but it comes right at sunset, so that's always fun. But yeah, it's really cool to see that ABC method. That's more of like an old-time passenger concept, but it's cool to see that cargo is applying that. Yeah, I didn't even really think about the connectivity of the packages. I know that sounds kind of crazy in a way, but it's really important. So great perspective there, Anderson. That's pretty awesome. Speaking of perspectives, give us yours if you want to on the A300 right here.
Yeah, so here we are with this UPS Airbus A300. What an awesome aircraft. The A300 is just a super cool one in my opinion. I believe this is the Aeroclassics model. I think they were the only company that ever made one of these, so a very rare model. But they did a really good job. It is very simple. I remember watching the unboxing video of this aircraft. I was just stunned, blown away. This is such a cool one. Not just in model form, but in real life too. This is just a really awesome aircraft. A workhorse for UPS, just like we have the 757s for FedEx. The UPS A300 is a crazy workhorse. So this aircraft is on the turnaround flight to Louisville, SDF, of course. Kind of another Fort Alliance with FedEx type of situation, which is every day of the week but Saturday, so almost a daily A300 for Louisville, which makes sense because Louisville, I think, is UPS's main airport, their main operations. So yeah, really awesome to see. Just another staple route for the cargo section once again here at Tulsa.
Not to mention also, these frequencies can go absolutely insane on like select days. Like there's Saturdays where we'll have 4 cargo flights, and there's also cargo days where we won't have 4 cargo flights. Like I said, FedEx will usually bring an A300 in every morning. Another Anderson, also another. Not only the A300 flight, but also on Mondays, Monday night at 7 p.m., UPS brings in a 767 from Louisville, so that happens. And then I've seen UPS also bring in A300s from like we did have, I don't know where it went, I think we might still have it. We also have it's been a 757 usually, but it's also been an A300 at times. Little Rock, Tulsa, Dallas, Fort Worth. I'm not sure where that was. I didn't see it on the schedule this month, but that's also been there quite a bit. And yeah, I've even seen like FedEx has done like we had Denver A300s going like Albuquerque and Denver at times too, and I think we even had Ontario. So I'm gonna try to like stock that more often. I really want to learn more about that. It's really cool. So for airport size of Tulsa, it's really cool to get to see this. So that's really cool. The good news is we're not even done cargo though yet. This Kalitta charter is Boeing 727-200. It's currently taxiing in from Cincinnati. So we do have a daily Cincinnati cargo service. I don't know who contracts it. It really just flips by the day who's operating it. We've had this Kalitta 727-200 operate it. More recently, we've had a iAero lease all blank white 737-800 that's operated it. We've also had DHL 737 as of late operating this, and all kinds of really cool planes. So Kalitta 737-400s. Heck, I even think a couple months ago we had the DHL 767-200 operating this. So, I mean, this just changes by the day. This is the best variety part in terms of cargo section. It's really cool. It's just Cincinnati's daily. It's the drop of the hat on who's going to operate it. So, it's really cool. I think it's a very unique route, and I absolutely love to see it. So, Anderson, what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, the Kalitta Charter 727, that is such an awesome aircraft to be seeing here at Tulsa. There's, again, Kalitta, or I guess the 727 is just such an uncommon aircraft to see these days. So for a company like Kalitta to be operating it, it's just such a treat. And to be seeing these aircraft fly into airports such as Tulsa is just so awesome. So I don't really have a ton of knowledge on Kalitta charters. All I know is that the 727 and the 737s of sorts are their main workhorses. I know they operate a ton of aircraft, but I believe Tulsa, haven't you guys gotten the 737 occasionally from Kalitta charters as well?
Yeah, there was times where we've got 737-400s all the time. I think during the pandemic there was about a year straight it was just 734s, not even the 727. So we've got that for a long time as well, yes. And 737-800s
Right, yeah.
from DHL like I was referencing. But it's all contracted, so it's that Cincinnati service cargo, but the operator changes by the day. It's just that somebody has to operate it. So I don't know why it's not ever very consistent, but 1 week it'll be Kalitta 727, 1 week it'll be a all-white 737 for iAero, for DHL, 1 week it'll be a DHL 737, 1 week it'll be a DHL 767, just flip-flops by the day.
Yeah, so again, not a whole lot of knowledge on my end, but just a really awesome aircraft to see here at Tulsa for the cargo hard stand, just switching up a little bit, keeping the cargo area very diverse with the 727. That is such a cool airplane. So getting on to the next aircraft now, I guess, with the maintenance facility, unless there's more cargo aircraft. I don't see any on the list here.
Unfortunately, you're right. We're out of cargo aircraft, but that was a really impressive showing, so we absolutely love to see it. Taxiing into the maintenance area, just landed on runway 18 left. We have this American Airlines Boeing 777-200ER. Always a fun time to get a heavy airplane in here. Got to see two of these recently. One landing, one taking off. One in from LAX, one out to DFW. You may have saw on Instagram that I had a sarcastic yet extravagant reaction for the 777 that was landing in from Los Angeles. So really cool you can see this. That's exactly what this is representing here. That Instagram reel, by the way, was predominantly to be just have some fun with it, more sarcasm than as serious as some people took it, but it's all good. The people that took it seriously probably have not seen my account before, so I can kind of understand. Anyways, though, as I said, this is an LAX maintenance flight. I really enjoy seeing American's operations here. They send a bunch of cool aircraft. 787 coming in the next morning as of recording, so that's really cool. So they really go strong here with the Boeing aircraft. We might get some more Airbus in the future, but it's mainly Boeing. Hopefully 737 MAX 8 deliveries resume soon because we haven't got those in a very long time. So hopefully we'll get some of those at some point. But yeah, really cool to get to see this 777 here. And it's always a treat to get these heavies kind of out of nowhere. They get scheduled kind of last minute, so that's really cool. Anderson, what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, that's a really cool aircraft to be having maintenance in here, of course. Tulsa being a huge airport for American Airlines maintenance. Really fortunate to have such an awesome facility. I can't remember exactly what was said, but I know in the Tulsa Aviation Day, the American Airlines facility employs like some ridiculous number of people in Tulsa. Again, I can't remember exactly.
It's about 6,000 employees, which is astronomical for a maintenance base.
Right, so
that's
6,
more employees than the whole airport has, if you'd like to view it that way.
Yeah, so
5
just to put
times the amount.
into perspective, how big this facility is: 6,000 employees here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, for American Airlines, getting these massive operations.
I think that's
underway
more
for
than
so
what
many
their
aircraft.
that's probably right next to what their Dallas operation is. It's probably bigger than some of their hubs.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, 6,000 employees is, as you said, just astronomical. So, really fortunate to have such a huge facility here in Tulsa, of course, not only for your economics, but of course, you get to see some really awesome aircraft here fly in that, of course, elsewhere you probably wouldn't see almost ever. So, really nice assessment there for the Tulsa American Airlines maintenance facility.
Absolutely agree, and I mean, I'm just trying to put 6,000 into perspective. The size of my hometown is 8,000, so pretty much everybody in this town that I live in pretty much works at American in Tulsa, which, I mean, it is the global headquarters of the world, and that's kind of something that we don't really think about on the daily, but I mean, I made a video on it last year, and you can really see the perspective of what kind of facility this is, and I mean, if you do ever get an opportunity to tour a maintenance facility or an airport or an aircraft or something like that, I know there's a bunch of really cool museums across the United States and elsewhere that have great opportunities, like the Museum of Flight in Seattle, Washington. And even you can really look into different perspectives too, like the Delta Flight Museum in Atlanta is awesome. The C.R. Smith Museum I hope to visit very soon in Dallas looks super cool. There's so many museums across the world in the United States that really put into perspective. But also, like I said, if you ever get an opportunity, please go jump on seeing maintenance facilities or airports or whatever the case is. I hope they do more public events like that in the future, like an airport, like we'll host an open event that you can like register for. So I hope to see a bunch of that. But yeah, I mean, what they point to demonstrate here is that the facility is huge, and 6,000, like the airport probably only has like 1,000 employees if I had to take an assumption off the top of my head. 6,000. The American Airlines maintenance facility is the largest contractor I think in the whole city of Tulsa, which is, I mean, that's unbelievable. 6,000 employees. I mean, that speaks for itself, and that's why we have all these really cool planes on the ground. But really, the more appreciation to be had for the actual hangars. There's like 6 hangars over there. I mean, you don't really think about every day. You don't think about all these flaps that are being worked on, the CFM56 overhauls that only take 60 days. It's a world record that they somehow manage. I mean, this facility is probably top right next to the Boeing plant in terms of productivity and what they do. So I beat that in quite a bit, but I really wanted to illustrate how important that is. So really great opportunity, and I mean, we're already well into this video, so we might as well have some fun with it. All right. Alrighty, next up. Yeah. We have 2 maintenance American Airlines 737-800s. Anderson and I are going to split them. I'm going to take the logo on the winglet. The 737-800 came in on a maintenance flight from San Antonio a couple days ago. He'll be heading out to Dallas on a revenue service here in a couple. I'm actually going to send him to Charlotte on a revenue service here in a couple of days. And on the top side, we have
the American Airlines Boeing 737-800, of course, with the standard winglets. This aircraft arrived in from Norfolk. ORF, of course, is their airport code. They'll be heading out on a revenue service to Dallas-Fort Worth.
And like I was saying with that CFM56 overhaul, American will send, I mean, they obviously have 300 737s, but they'll send these in all the time. It's not uncommon to see multiple of these a day. So really, the average is probably every other day you're going to see one of these flying in. So never gets old. I think like every other time I've spotted, I've seen one come in. The most recent was a Tampa service on March 5. One came in. It was like 9783, I think was the flight number. Yeah, and that, you'll always see that the maintenance flights are depicted by 9700 flight number for American, which is really cool. So, oh yeah. So this 777 and the 737 both came in on the same day for maintenance. This one from LAX and the other from Tampa. So that really shows you how much maintenance can be done. And as I just told you guys, a Dallas maintenance 787 comes in too. It's also really cool that American typically will flip-flop aircraft. So they bring in one 777, then another 777 goes out. The 777 that this one that's on the camera replaced went out to Dallas the next day. 737s will leave randomly too. It's also really cool when they do maintenance flights just around the area. Alaska has a pretty big facility in OKC that I got to witness the other day, what they do with that. But American will send out 737s and even sometimes heavies out just really randomly and just going in northern Oklahoma and really just, drop an engine on the fly, restart in the air, drop flaps, hydraulic issues, everything. So, and yeah, think about test pilots and all these other different situations you never normally would think about. Just a really good opportunity to really reflect on that. So it's really awesome. Love the American Airlines maintenance facility. But now we have a Cessna 172. Still very much to appreciate about this. This guy's currently doing a local flight around the area. Just came by, did some powder work. Now he's going to pick up some fuel, and he's heading on over on his local flight here in a little bit. Excuse my table of mess here. This is a Great Plains leftover. But nevertheless, we have a really nice lineup of general aviation aircraft to finish up today's airport update. We do have one military aircraft. Sorry that's blank, but it's a T-38. I really wanted to represent more of these. Hopefully over the summer I'll get a good opportunity to finally work on good customs here. I really want to make this better. But nevertheless, he's currently coming in from Shepherd Air Force Base, which is a very common visitor here at the Legacy ramp. He'll be heading back out there here in a little bit. So looking very good, picking up some fuel. This Challenger 300 just came in onto the Legacy ramp as well. He made a non-stop service day in from Eagleville. Really cool, you can see that. And now he's on down to Tampa. And then we have this orange Learjet 75.
This orange Learjet 75 arrived in from Fort Pierce Treasure Coast International Airport. I'm going to be heading out to Nantucket Memorial Airport. So the reason I put Fort Pierce Treasure Coast International Airport in there, a lot of you guys probably haven't heard of this airport before. It's kind of like a Vero Beach type airport, probably a little bit smaller in terms of the amount of aircraft operations, although I could be wrong. The reason I put this in here is because actually my grandfather living in the Port St. Lucie area knows a thing or two about kind of the nearby airports, and showed me a newspaper article about potentially this airport becoming a commercial use airport, which could even mean airlines like Avelo or Breeze going in there. So I don't really want to take up too much time talking about this. I just kind of want to explain my logic behind putting it in here just because I think it's pretty cool. So could even see Avelo or Breeze. As I said, we'll have to see kind of what happens there in the future. So once again, this orange Learjet 75 arriving in from Fort Pierce Treasure Coast International Airport, and I'll be heading out to Nantucket.
Very nice. Love that effort, dude. Very cool airport. I hope to see commercial service for them one day. And the last aircraft of the update, taxiing out for departure 18 right on the GA runway, is this green Learjet 75.
This green Learjet 75 arrived in from Cortland, November 03 Airport in Cortland, New York, and it'll be heading out to Dead Horse, Alaska.
Having some fun with it. Absolutely love it. No context needed there. Definitely the longest Tulsa update, and 100% one of the longest updates on the channel. I don't think it quite overtook the Dallas 2-year anniversary on my channel. That video was about an hour and a half. Or heck, it might have overtook it, I don't know. But when you're having fun, you just got to do it. So yes, a little 20-gate airport can be an hour and 20 minutes. But Anderson had many great points today, so I really appreciate his perspectives. And if he wants to, he'll definitely be back on for more updates in the future because he provided some outstanding input and perspectives for today's airport update, and it was an absolute blast. Just a really fun update today. We really got to reflect and assess Tulsa in its full entirety and many really cool situations. We talked about every route really thoroughly, which is something we really haven't done at Tulsa in a while, so I was really happy to do that. And we talked about a bunch of particular situations. We talked about the really short flights for the mainline aircraft. I thought that was a really cool perspective that I really haven't Sorry about that, everybody. After an hour, 18 minutes, and 11 seconds, my phone unfortunately died, but hey, it's all good. We made it work. We're chilling, and absolutely loving the effort. So what an update today. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. A very unique one with so many diverse elements, as I was just referencing. Really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did as well, and I would like to hand this off to Anderson to give any final thoughts, feedback, any input, and all that fun stuff. So Anderson, feel free to go right ahead, dude.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you having me on here today for this wonderful Tulsa International Airport update. What an awesome airport, guys. A lot of cool movements, awesome new routes. Of course, we have Breeze and Southwest with their Orlando service. And then, of course, we have the Las Vegas expansions. And then all of the routes that we have had for the longest time that are either getting upgraded or, frequencies changing or aircraft changing, whatever the case may be. Airlines... just modifying their schedules and just making the airport run as efficiently as possible, which is always a good thing to see. So really awesome airport update here today for Tulsa International Airport. Once again, I appreciate you having me on here, and it was great to be here today.
To you as well. Really appreciate it and excited to work with you in the future, dude. Really great update. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did as well. But with all that being said, that'll do it for today's Tulsa International Airport update. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope. Oh, one major note. I can't believe I forgot. I'm sorry. Cannot end the video without recognizing my boy Andrew Perini for helping Tulsa International Airport win the 2023 fiscal year routes award for the United States, the best airport in terms of routes. So awesome to see that. I mean, that's absolutely huge. I'm sorry I didn't come up with the proper name off the top of my head. Just to have to recognize that in Tulsa International Airport doing their work. I apologize about that. I meant to mention that, and then I got distracted because my phone died and then all that fun stuff. But huge props to him. He made it happen for the airport. So one individual's impact is just absolutely outstanding. Not to mention all the various other projects. Tulsa International Airport just launched a partnership with the local middle and high schools for internships, which is really cool. I'm very jealous of that. I would have absolutely ran all over that in high school if I would have got an opportunity to do that. So really cool to get to see that. And I think there's a couple of other items in the news that if I missed it, I'll talk about in the April update. But I'm pretty sure we're just really moving and grooving. That's super cool. This new service, as we were just talking about, Orlando's going to be starting soon. And Andrew just absolutely demonstrating effort on all levels. Just super cool. And Anderson, anything to say about that? Sorry, that kind of, I almost forgot about that. But that's too important to not talk about.
Yeah. That's completely fine. I can't believe I forgot about that. That's just such an awesome award. I mean, even through Tulsa's hardships with losing Frontier and Breeze cutting certain routes and that kind of thing, it took me by surprise. Certainly, it's not an award that I knew that was really a thing, but it was really awesome to hear that this was the case for Tulsa, and very much deserving of this award. Of course, Andrew Perini, as we've talked about, mentioned several times in the past, really doing a great job here at the airport, doing everything he can, and of course including the rest of the team at Tulsa, whoever those wonderful individuals may be, working super hard, getting all these airlines to work with these schedules and do everything they can to add as many flights or frequencies as they can that make sense for the airport. So really awesome to see Tulsa win such an awesome award here. Really looking forward to the future for Tulsa International Airport, not just in terms of routes, but just in general. So once again, huge congrats, to Tulsa International Airport.
Super cool. Looking very forward to the future. And if I missed anything, I'm sorry. It's been quite the update here. I'll be sure to touch on it in April. But the airport's making huge progress. Couldn't ask for a better time here at Tulsa International Airport. And who knows, maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and we'll have a new route. We shall see. But until next time, everybody, that will do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust the process. Do what you love and love what you do. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you guys soon as Redriveraviation is signing off.